the weekend of May 17th, around there, we decided to go out on the Mojave Road. Now, some of the group have not been on the Mojave Road before, and it was their first time. Some of us have been multiple times. We're looking forward to getting back and beating the heat. Raul and Fabio started off with a quick dip in the Colorado River. We were all getting photos. They ran down, plunged in. It was an awesome way to start, I have to say. I went partway in. The water was cool and refreshing. It was just what we needed to get started. We aired down, hit the traditional path. All of the GPS tracks are available online. It's super easy to find them. We took our time and just enjoyed the desert scenery. We had everything from built-up Jeeps. One of the guys had their brand new 1500 series GMC AT4X towing a trailer, and we had a stock Tacoma along. So great time on the trail. Everybody made it through okay, and we got to see some really cool stuff along the way, as usual. Not too long into day one, we stopped off at a place called Balancing Rock. You'll see why in a moment. It's a great location, a few miles into the trail. Good chance for everybody to stop, stretch their legs, check on anything that might have moved around over the first little bit and the few washes you went through. It's also outside the National Preserve, so I was able to put the drone up for a couple of passes and just grab some footage from our group, just hanging out for a few minutes before we really got in to the desert proper. Before long, it was time for camp. We settled on a spot that was right overlooking a nice valley, great views between two ridges off into the distance. Turned out to be a beautiful spot to catch sunrise the next morning, as you'll see in some of the upcoming photos. Along the way, we got to see some great landscape. We had some great food. Fabio, as you'll see in a minute, got to test out Kevin's new rock slider mounted hammock stands on his new truck. That was pretty cool. And I have to say, Kevin's rig is awesome. It's really well set up for overlanding in the desert or pretty much anywhere. And as you will see in an upcoming video, extremely capable. So do not count out full-size pickup trucks. Lots of food. We had a whole bunch of steaks with us on this trip. We had a whole bunch of potatoes and onions and all kinds of great stuff. Everybody was cooking, just really enjoying our time out there. And we ate well, and it was a really great first camp.
I like the size. Okay. I think it was bigger and be too big.
Like that's perfect. Like how big do you need it? Like
no, like for meat pizza. No?
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, sir.
So we work it in to the meat so that we make sure that it gets in there. And then not only that.
Oh yeah, you gotta do the sides.
Gotta get the sides. This one is not too thick, so it'll be quick. That's mine. That's Fabio's. And that's yours. Let's cross-hatch it. 4 minutes. Cross-hatch it. Okay. There we go. Looking good. And it's looking already pretty flaccid. I may have made a wrong choice by doing the 4 minutes. 48.
we were up and out of camp pretty early on Saturday morning because we knew we had to cover a lot of miles on Saturday if we were going to have an easy Sunday. So we hit the trail not too far from where we started. We started to encounter the Joshua trees, as you can see. Pro tip, you can go to Joshua Tree National Park and see Joshua trees, or you can go to the Mojave Desert and see forests of Joshua trees. A lot more of them there. But obviously along the way, here you get to stop at the penny tree. Just up ahead, we all stopped, we dropped our penny, and then we pressed on again. Not too far from here, we're going to hit the hill. A couple of vehicles opted to take a bypass around it, and that's totally cool. It's an easy bypass. It's the road right next to where you are, so it's not a difficult thing to avoid. The rest of us opted to play and go down the hill. Now, depending on where you look up the information, you may see that hill referred to as the Lava Tube Hill or the Narrows. I don't know. It's just a bunch of ruts on a hill that's crazy off camber, and it's a lot of fun. Not that you can easily see it in this aerial view, but the desert was covered in flowers on this trip. Everywhere we stopped, there were flowers in bloom. Things were beautiful. The normal things you would see, like poppies, and then, as you'll see later in the videos, some oddly shaped things. But of course, we had to go over the hill or down the hill in order to get there. And what you're going to see here over the next couple of minutes is a series of short clips detailing all of the vehicles coming down the hill, except for the two that opted for the bypass, and they were waiting for us at the bottom when we pulled out of at the end of the hill here. Yeah, Dom and his Land Cruiser absolutely owned the hill. Super straightforward, super simple, truck did all the work. It was great on this. You'll see Kevin come down here in the full size with the trailer. few Jeeps are going to come through, make it look super easy, non-dramatic, as Jeep Rubicons tend to do with this stuff. It was a really, really great day on the hill. We had some fun filming. Everybody had a good time coming down the hill. I recommend, if you're comfortable with it, by all means, come through this area. It's a great view on the way down. Test your driver's skill. And if your vehicle's built for it, it will really be an entertaining moment on your trip. After we all cleared the hill and we regrouped, a few more minutes up the road saw us at the Rock House. Lots of flowers around here. The area was just beautiful with color everywhere. It's a beautiful, beautiful spot to stop. Pro tip, it also happens to have one of the cleanest park toilets ever to exist on site here at the Rock House. If you're not familiar with the Rock House, this was actually built in the late 1920s by a gentleman named Bert Smith, who was a World War I veteran, and he had been exposed to gas during a gas attack. It scarred his lungs, and he moved to the desert in an attempt to try to regain his health. He didn't expect to live very long. The doctors at the time told him he didn't have long to live with his condition. He ended up living here for another 25 years at this house in the desert. It's a great opportunity. You can pause here, read about all this, but it's a great option to stop along the way, stretch your legs, catch your breath, kind of get refreshed before you continue on the Mojave Road. Now, I've never done the math on this, but we're about to roll up to the Mojave mailbox, and it always feels like about the halfway point on the Mojave Road to me. Again, haven't done the actual math on it, but symbolically, it feels like you've reached a destination. It's always fun to stop, sign the notebook that's in there, check on the supplies that have been left, and you know what? If you maybe got an extra bottle of water, leave one in there for other travelers in case they need it. That kind of idea. It's a really great waypoint. It was nice to just stop for a few minutes and just wander around. There's a couple little displays in the desert behind the mailbox. So there's enough there to occupy you while you stretch out a bit. Now, we're about to roll up to an area called the lava tubes, and for good reason. They are actual uncollapsed lava tubes from eons ago that you can easily access. You do have to be careful. There's a ladder entrance down in there. But once you get in there, it is bare rock. You do have to bend over It's a little tight getting in there. You have to watch yourself. It's dark, bring flashlight. But boy, this stop is worth it just for the sheer beauty of being inside these lava tubes, these caves. And of course, we couldn't help ourselves. We wanted to have a little bit of fun while we were in there. So we arranged to have Yaniv abducted. As you saw at the very beginning of the video, you can get some really fun shots in there. If you do want to have a little bit of fun, you'll see sunlight pouring through there. Depending on the time of day, you'll get different angles. And as you walk around and the dust rises up, the actual shafts of sunlight become more like laser beams. You'll see this. They're absolutely beautiful. It's a very mesmerizing spot. Well worth your time to stop in there. Take your camera, take your flashlight, maybe wear a hat. Just be careful, but it's a great experience. After we left the Cinder Cone mine, it was just about getting to camp over by Soda Lake, and as you'll see, steak, tacos, corn, jalapeno poppers, burgers. It was just a big feast in the desert. We had such a great time cooking, hanging out, eating. It was an awesome second night at camp. All right, come on in there.
I just wish it was.
Sunday morning, we were, again, up fairly early. We opted not to really have a big breakfast. We just opted to get going, hit the road, and explore a little more, have some more time for that. We had to cross Soda Lake. You want to watch for the signs to see if the passage is open. If there's been any rain, it can be impassable. So follow that direction from the Park Service. For us, it was open. You'll see the sign in there. It says it's ready to go. So we went out, hit the Travelers Monument, and then continued on the other side where things get much sandier. And then ultimately ended up spending a bunch of time at Scary Cave, which you will see shortly. After going through some sandy washes for a while, you at this point come across the train trestle. This is a pretty common spot for groups and people to stop, take a photo, kind of mark their, coming toward the end of the Mojave Road, basically. It's a great area. It makes for some great scenery and photography. If you get your timing right, maybe a train is coming by, that can add some extra dynamic aspects to your moment in the desert. Not far from here, literally just a couple of miles down the wash, you'll see us on the right-hand side of that wash in the canyon is Scary Cave. And that is a slot canyon that is still actively being carved out by the elements. When you go in, it starts as a slot canyon and then becomes an actual cave that you can kind of crawl around. Well, not really crawl around, you walk around in it. And people have installed ropes so you can do some climbing and whatnot. Take a flashlight, wear a hat, be careful. It's a raw area, so you want to make sure that you take care there. Now, when you reach this part here of the Mojave Road where you're kind of right there on the rail bed, be careful. Make sure you're aware of any train activity nearby. We're awfully close to the tracks here, but it's only a couple of 100 feet. You come down the other side. There used to be a very big water feature here. Maybe at other times of the year, there's more water. I've certainly been through there when there's more water. There wasn't a lot on this trip in mid-May. You'll go through this. You'll come out the other side, and you're getting pretty close to Afton Canyon at this point, which is a lot of people consider the end of the Mojave Road. Our group tends to go a little bit further, takes the last few miles as well, comes out over farther down by Mannix on the highway. In between there, you will find the large water feature. It's not particularly deep, but it is attention-getting, especially if you're not used to driving through standing water. We had a good time going through. Everybody made it through okay. Just, the last thing you do on your trip, basically, before you start wrapping it up. From here, part of our group split off to head home. Part of our group continued the last few miles. We then exited the highway, went to the gas station, fueled up, aired up, grabbed snacks, and scattered for home. Another great trip with the group, another awesome trip on the Mojave Road. Highly recommend it. Go give it a try.